Hello dear students, I am Dr. Chandrakala HD. Welcome to the video classes of the subject Programming Language using C. In this video, under the chapter Data Types and Operators, I'll be teaching you how to declare variables and how to assign values to variables in C language. So a variable is nothing but a data name given to some storage location in the memory. So whenever we make use of data values in the programs, we represent those data values using variables. Since variable names are meaningful, it's quite easy for us to remember them and keep track of them in the program. So as the name itself suggests, a variable can take different values in the program at different times of execution. Some example variable names are average, height, total, counter1, class underscore strength. So whenever we want to frame variable names in C, there are certain rules to be followed. Variable names in C can consist only letters, digits, and underscore. And they should always begin with a letter. Sometimes they can also begin with underscore as first character, but never they should begin with a digit. In ANSI standard of C, the length of variable names is 31 characters. So only the first 31 characters are treated significant in ANSI C standard. Though it can be normally more than this, only 31 characters are treated as significant. Some compilers treat only first 8 characters as significant. The C99 standard treats the first 63 characters as significant. In C language, uppercase and lowercase letters are treated as different. C is a case sensitive language. So the variable total, which consists of capital T and small OTAL, is treated as different from TOTAL in all caps. So C is a case sensitive language. You should be careful while using the variable names. You should remember in what case you have given. The C variable name cannot be a keyword. There are certain keywords used in C language. Those keywords cannot be used as variable names. No special characters, not even white spaces, are allowed in variable names. So these are some rules to be followed when we frame variable names in C language. Some examples of valid variable names are John, value, T underscore raise, Delhi, X1, PH value, mark, someone, distance, so on. Now let's take some more examples and see whether they are valid or not valid variable names. First underscore tag is a valid variable name. It consists of only letters and underscores. Char, the second variable example, is not a valid variable name because char is a keyword. It is used to represent the character data type. Hence, it can't be used as variable name. So it is not valid. Price dollar is also not valid as a variable name because dollar sign is a special symbol and it cannot be used as part of the variable name. Group space 1 is also a non-valid variable name because it consists of a blank space which is not permitted in variable names. Average underscore number is a valid variable name. So since it contains only letters and underscores, it's a valid variable name. Int underscore type is a valid variable name. Though int is a keyword, it's only part of the name. The total name of the variable is int underscore type. Hence, it's a valid variable name. Next, let's move on to declaration of variables in C. So before we make use of a variable in C, we should always declare the variables which we are going to use in the program just before they can be used in the program. A variable declaration will tell the compiler where to store that particular value and how much memory space has to be allotted for that particular variable. So a variable declaration has syntax like this: type space variable list. So type is nothing but the data type of the variable. Variable list is a comma separated list of names of variables which you want to declare for this particular data type. So data type can be char, int, float, double, long double, bool, or any user defined data type or derived data type as well. So whereas the variable list is the names of variables or identifiers which are separated by commas, and those are chosen by the user. Some valid variable declaration statements are int I comma j comma k. So here I, j, k are three integer variables which I am declaring. Next we have char c comma ch. These two are character data. So one thing you should understand, as soon as the compiler reads int I, j, k, it will allocate three memory locations in the memory, each of 2 bytes size, because int occupies 2 bytes, and names those three locations as I, j, and k respectively. Next, when it says char c comma ch, it reserves two memory locations 1 bytes long and names them as c and ch. And the compiler sees float f comma salary, it allocates two memory locations of size 4 bytes and names them as f and salary, and understands that these locations can store floating point values. Similarly, when it says double D, it allocates 8 bytes of memory and names it as D. So that's what is the information which a declaration statement conveys to the compiler. So next important thing which you should know for variables is how to assign values to variables. So you have declared variables, how to put values in them. So you can initialize values for variables using the syntax type variable name equal to value. So you can combine the declaration as well as initialization in one line, or you can declare variables separately and initialize them separately as well. Both are valid. So here type stands for data type. Variable name is the name chosen for the data item by the user, and equal to is the assignment operator which is used to assign values to the variable, and the value in the syntax can be any constant value or an expression, any type of expression which finally evaluates to a constant value. Some examples are now let's see some examples of initialization of variables. So here we have int d equal to 3, f equal to 5. Here we are declaring integer d and assigning it with the value 3. Similarly, declaring f, which is an integer variable, and assigning 5 as value to it. Next, we have float z equal to 22. So this is also a combination of declaration and initialization. I'm declaring the floating point value z and putting value 22. Next, we have initialization of character variable, char x equal to x. So you should understand one thing, x is the variable name and it will contain the value x. Next, we have int sum. So I have declared sum separately and I have initialized it in a separate statement, sum equal to 0. Even this is valid. So you can combine both declaration and initialization in the same line or do it separately as well. Next, we have sum equal to d plus f. So I have given this example to make you understand that it's not that always the right hand side of the initialization statement has to be a constant value or a number. It can be an expression as well. So here d is 3, f is 5. 3 plus 5 is performed and the value which comes up is 8, and that will be assigned to sum. That's one thing which you can make out here. And one more thing which this signifies is the value of variables can keep changing during the execution of the program. Initially, I had assigned the value sum equal to 0, but later when I did d plus f and computed 8, that 8 will be overwritten on top of the previous value 0. So that's why these tokens are named as variables, since since their values can keep changing throughout the execution of the program. And whenever I don't initialize any variable with a value, by default, a null value will be put by some compilers. And so, some compilers also initialize them to the garbage value, some garbage value, which was earlier stored in the memory location. For a safer side, it's always better to put initial values for variables in the program so that the computations are more accurate. So this was about the variables, declaration of variables and assignment of values to variables. Thank you.